This is a fine mess you got us in. Yeah, here on Mallard Matinee, we're talking about a couple of classic guys from a not so classic movie, 2018's Stan and Ollie. Welcome to Mallard Matinee. We are reviewing some biopic films for our Biopic Month. Biopic films, or how do you say it?
Biopic. It's easier. It just makes more sense because it's a picture. Biopic.
So yeah, if you're not familiar with biopics, they are films about people's lives that are kind of like biographies in a way. Kind of, at least it's not like a whole, not necessarily their whole life, but at least a fragment of their life.
Yeah.
This film is about Stanley, Laurel, and Oliver Hardy, the team of
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, I was going to say Stan and Oliver. That's not right.
That's kind of close.
Yeah, but so this film's details their lives on their trip to Great Britain, where they do like a tour and they're kind of past their prime. Mm-hmm. But yeah, before we get too much into that, let me know who you are and what's your relation with this movie.
I am the Hardy to Lewis's Laurel.
Okay.
And I am CountryBoy. I think I'd be the Hardy probably. But yeah, I had seen this movie back when it came out, at least when it was on digital anyways, when it was on Prime, I believe it was. And this was probably 2018, 2019, pretty short after it was, I think it was in the theaters. After its theatrical run, I think I would have saw it. And I enjoyed it then, and so I was like, when you brought it up, I was like, yeah, okay, this is a movie I could watch again. I don't usually watch a lot of biopics too many times, especially ones that are really true to life and ones that aren't like that entertaining, which I found this one to be just entertaining enough that I'm okay to watch it a second time. And yeah, I watched it for the second time just recently.
Yeah, so for me, I'm LewisLightning, by the way. I kind of grew up with a little bit of all of the Laurel and Hardy. Yeah. I keep wanting to say their full names, but I grew up with a little bit of them. My neighbors that like lived across the road for where I was at the farm, they had like at least the movie. I think they had more, but their final movie, it was K Atoll or Utopia is what it actually was called, and they had that, and I watched it. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. And I watched some more of their stuff later on. So I kind of grew up on them, and even stuff like the Three Stooges or
Abbott and Costello,
Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of watched those things growing up, so I kind of got like a little bit of a taste for those. So when I heard about this movie, I didn't see it when it came out originally in 2018. This was my first time watching the biopic, even though I was aware of it. Like, I know you and I were looking forward to it when it came out.
I remember when it first was announced and we saw like John C. Reilly and the makeup and stuff like that. We saw the trailer for it. We're like, wow, this actually looks really good. And I know you were interested in seeing it, and we both didn't see it in theaters or anything because I don't even know if it was playing around it. I don't think it was limited release. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it got a really big wide release. But yeah, I saw it and I was like, yeah, maybe you might like it. I don't know how big of a fan you are of Laurel and Hardy, but I thought it was a decent movie. It's worth seeing this biopic.
So I only saw it just this last week to get ready for this review that we're doing on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as I was saying, it kind of covers their, it starts off, I guess, briefly kind of showing their past when they're hitting their peak.
Yeah.
Making movies.
It's kind of like when they're in their heyday of them being like big names.
Yeah, and they want to get more money and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they have a little bit of a split up just briefly because of contracts.
Yeah.
And then we cut to 16
years later.
16 years later, and then we see like this UK tour where they're back together and they're trying to drum up a little bit of business again, but overseas. So they don't really. It's kind of a combination of like they haven't been around for a while, and then I don't know if the UK audiences were that familiar with them.
Yeah, and like a lot of times you'll see like people interact with them like, oh, I didn't even know you guys were still around. I didn't know you were still performing. It's kind of sad because these guys are almost like living in the past. It's like these are guys, they know that their heyday isn't behind them, and they're still trying to be relevant in this time. And it's a little bit sad to watch in that sense because it's just like the last couple of months of their career basically is what we're watching.
So we get to see that, and there's a little bit of animosity between them that I guess was kind of under the surface for a while, but it comes up on the tour. But anyways, we're just kind of going through the movie. As I was watching it, I made notes. I'm going to bring them up on the way. You can throw in yours too.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to say was like, did they pad John C. Reilly a whole lot? Because he's not like super fat or anything, but like he just seems a lot bigger than Steve Coogan, and I'm wondering if maybe Steve Coogan's just a small guy to begin with. Because John C. Reilly, you know, we see him in other stuff, and like, you know, he's a pretty thick guy, not fat or anything, but just like thick all the way through. And I'm like,
so I read that the director gave John C. Reilly 2 options. You can either gain a bunch of weight for this movie, and he says he's done that before for roles. He's gained weight and he's had to lose. He said losing it is usually hard, so he chose to go the other route, which is prosthetics, and he had a lot of prosthetics. Like he said basically everything was covered on his body, like his whole body, even his arms and stuff like that, except for the pads of his hands and his face. Like those are the 2 things that he was able to keep himself.
Kind of like around his jaw, it gets like thick, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that was. And then his hands, there's a part where you can see like the backs of his hands, and they're like kind of puffy, and it just the color looks wrong. And to me, that gave me away that okay, that was prosthetics as well. But they actually seem to make it like different. Like when we first see him, he's a little bit leaner, and then when they cut to the 16-year
when he's like 61 years old or whatever, I think they said he was,
and he's a bit bigger too.
He's definitely heavier than that. And then they also have like more grays in their hair and stuff like that. They've aged them accordingly.
Yeah,
into the 16 years difference.
So it starts off like they're on the set or going to the set of like their next production they're in.
Yeah,
and they're like talking about how great things are, and they're flipping between wives apparently and gambling and losing money and all this stuff. And you know, things seem to be going well because they have a lot of money and they're kind of cheery and stuff.
Yeah.
But they are talking about like contract negotiations, like they want more money or they're going to jump or something like that.
Well, yeah, only one of their contracts was up at the time, and that was Laurel's. Laurel's contract was up, and so he was trying to pull Hardy to like, hey, don't give whatever offer they give you because my contract's up, and you can't work without each other, right? And he's trying to get him to work with him, but you know, Hardy, I guess he's kind of a softer heart sort of guy. He doesn't want to say no. Yeah. And he continues to work.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like, and it happens right away. I stopped the film and I looked at the timer. It was like 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and we're already at them, like, where they're having an argument of the contract, and like, Stanley Laurel's gone to another production company to sign on, and he's signing the paperwork, and you see just Hardy's signature doesn't appear because he doesn't show up, I guess.
Yeah. I'll say I think one of my favorite parts of this movie is actually like the first 5 minutes of them on the back lot walking through the different sets and seeing like you can kind of see like the old timey way that things were, like I was in 1930s I think it would have been when they were doing this, and it was kind of neat to see all the different productions that they're doing and them walking. I think it might have been even a single take. Maybe it wasn't a single take. I could be wrong about that, but I like seeing that. Is seeing like the different productions and them walking to go to their set and stuff and then like seeing actually how they had like set up the set where they do like their dance in front of like the green screen, the big screen, I guess it is. Oh, that was cool. That was a cool way to start the movie.
Which I found kind of interesting because that seemed kind of bigger. Like, I wonder where that lot was because this was a BBC production. Yeah. So I was like, where did they film this in the UK? That they'd have a lot this big. I'm not too familiar with UK productions if they have like big movie studios anywhere there, but
well, they must because I know they filmed a bunch of Star Wars movies there.
Okay.
So I don't know how big of their lot they would have.
Was it like I know like some of the Star Wars stuff, like they do out on real life scenery, but like on set.
I'm saying on set. I know they filmed the stuff on set in Britain.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask, like, were they both absolutely terrible with women? Because they're like talking about, this is my third divorce or something like that.
Yeah, Hardy's was working on his next. I think Laura was even giving him tips like, "Hey, do me a favor, don't get married again." Yeah, he's like, "Oh well, I didn't tell you, but
I'm engaged."
We're engaged. Oh, congratulations! He tells him. On his third wife. Yeah.
And then we have it's just a 16-year time jump. Like we see that contract scene I was mentioning earlier, and then like they show Oliver Hardy's doing his elephant movie. That's what they call it. Yeah. Whatever it was called, we don't know the real thing.
Every time they mentioned the elephant movie, it kept making me think like it was like a porno or something. I know it wasn't a porno, but I was thinking like, his elephant movie. Like it was like this thing they don't want to. Yeah, exactly. They don't want to talk about it because it was almost like a dirty film or something that he made.
But yeah, it time jumps immediately after that. It's like 16 years later. Yeah. And then we get them in the UK. The bright, sunny. It's raining.
It's pretty dour, yeah.
But yeah, and they made John C. Reilly even bigger. But they show up in like the UK, and it's really like gray. Like it's what people always joke about the UK being like. Yeah. downpour all day,
cloudy,
and then they briefly meet this guy who is supposed to be their, I don't know, agent or contact or promoter there.
Yeah, the promoter of some sort. Yeah.
And then they check into this hotel, and then that's one thing that came up over and over in this movie, and that's what I have in here to note, because they check into the hotel, which is not something fancy and elegant. They're like questioning it right away, like, oh, aren't we gonna get better rooms? Like, yeah, we'll get better rooms when we go, to London, but for now, this is just for the first night, and it's 3 nights, he says.
Yeah. And even where they're performing, like they're saying, oh, we're supposed to be performing at this venue, and the lady at the hotel is like, oh, you must not be right. You must be talking about like, the Queen's venue, whatever. Maybe that's where we're supposed to be going. Sure.
No, the guy's like, no. But no, when they check in, because that's like a big slapstick thing, like the bell, and then
and they keep
Laurel's
moving it.
Yeah. Laurel's got all the luggage that he's following, and like I'm like, is this them doing it like in character just to show a fan? Because we do see that later.
Yes.
That they do things, they set things up to give it to their fans. But this just seems like they were just checking in. And
I had the same question, because I think I wrote it down, like, especially with the bell and moving it, and then like them pulling the luggage up the stairs, and then he goes to check his watch, and then the luggage flies down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, are they constantly just doing bits throughout their everyday, or is it just like they're just aloof and they're just kind of simple things?
Yeah, so I was like, is this the tone of the movie that they are slapstick in real life too?
Yeah.
Or is it that they were setting us up, because we do see those setups, or is it even like maybe they did have these kind of things happen to them, because maybe they are just sometimes clumsy or klutzy, not as much as in the shows, but this is like we had luggage that we accidentally let go and it fell down the stairs.
Exactly.
Like, that's a good thing for a bit. We should work that into the show.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to tell. They never make it clear.
And I'll say too, like, I don't know if you like notice, like the way they talk too is almost like old timey. It wasn't like exaggerated, like come get your papers, yeah, everybody. But there was that tone of them speaking. They definitely have that like old, like early 1900s, 1930s type of way of speaking.
Mrs. Hardy definitely has that voice.
Oh yeah.
She's like, it's like cracked, but like also high pitched, like a door hinge almost.
Speaking of which, we never mentioned the cast. If you want to bring up the cast.
Oh yeah, I forgot the cast.
So we obviously mentioned John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan. They're the main actors.
So John C. Reilly, obviously he's in stuff like Step Brothers. He was in Anchorman. He's in
Wreck-It Ralph.
Skull Island.
Yeah, he is. He was on the island.
Yeah, he was on the island.
Yeah, he was stuck on the island for years.
So we know him fairly well. Usually, I shouldn't say usually, because he's been in serious stuff too.
Yeah.
But I guess I associate him anyways with more comedic stuff. But a great actor, John C. Reilly.
Sure, yeah.
Steve Coogan, like, I know the name, but I can't think of anything that I'd seen him in.
Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is Tropic Thunder. He was the director that got blown up.
Yes.
Yeah, so
nice.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I also recognize him in this thing. And like, he was also in the other guys, like with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I no, the movie I don't.
Yeah, he was like a rich billionaire dude.
Okay, was he the one with like the water? Was it the water?
I think he had the cucumber water.
Oh.
I think he was the guy. I think that was. I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen the movie in a few years, but those are where I remember him. So he is also a comedy actor, more so that I remember from watching. But that's that. I don't want to talk more about some of the other actors.
Well, the only ones I would mention were like the wives. If I don't know
that's the only other names that I have. So I got Shirley Henderson played Lucille Hardy, which is obviously Hardy's wife, and so I know her from. You'll know her as well from the same thing. It's from Harry Potter. She's Moaning Myrtle.
Okay. I didn't recognize her, but now that you say that, I'm like,
that voice. I was like, it was so distinct. That voice of hers, that high pitch, like shrill. It's like, oh, that's 100% Moaning Myrtle. I looked at it, I was like, all right, that's her for sure.
And then the other one, Ida. I don't know.
Yeah, Ida. The actress's name was Nina Arianda. And I don't know if she has that German accent or whatever, or was it Russian?
I think she was Russian.
Russian accent, whatever accent. It almost seemed exaggerated, her accent. So
very much.
I don't know if she really has one or not, but if she doesn't, then she's not doing the best job of one, because it seemed exaggerated.
Really exaggerated.
Yeah.
The only other people, you don't have to look them up, but like hit the promoter or whatever, because we see him a lot.
Yeah, I didn't look his name up, but I thought he was almost exaggerated too. Like the way he was talking to them, he was kind of like fast talking about talking. I was going, okay, we're gonna go to this place. We're gonna go that place. Yeah. And he was like, okay, yeah, I don't know if people actually spoke that way back in the I guess this would have been 40s back then. Or
I have like
50s.
a note about him that like he just seems like such an obvious, like a cartoonish con man.
Yeah.
Because like he's like, oh, you know, I'd love to do it, but they won't let me. And they're like, who's they?
Yeah, who's they? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know, the guy's in charge. You know,
Yeah.
And it's just like they can't believe that. Like we know like, the characters we see wouldn't be that stupid, would they? Like, or is this just that type of comment was a new thing in the 1940s?
Yeah.
And then the other person, just because I recognize him briefly, was like the original production guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know he's in Wonder Woman. He was like they thought he was the bad guy.
He was Ares. He thought he'd be Ares. Yes.
He was the German general. But
I don't have his name written down either, but I recognize him too. And I have seen him like in Yellowstone as well too. I've seen him as a bad guy in that show as well too. But yeah, he was in there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, very very brief.
But that's about it for notable people, because everyone else, it's mostly just these R2 characters. And then, you know, the people that they run into on the way, like
and the wives, yeah.
Like the innkeeper, they run into them, or they run into that old couple at the charity function.
Yeah.
But those are just even lesser characters than the ones we named.
Yeah, they're much more passing moments throughout the movie.
But yeah, one thing that I hated, because, you know, that time skip happens, and then we jump forwards, and, you know, they're on this tour, and you can see that, you know, they don't say it to each other all the time, but their wives kind of bring it up or mention it to each other about the elephant movie, or how, you know, you're not still mad about the elephant movie and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I wish we got to see, because we don't see any fallout from it until we get here.
Yeah.
In which case it's kind of bubbling under the surface. Like, look, don't do a 16-year time jump if the big fucking turmoil is something that keeps coming up in the movie, but we don't know what it is because we jumped over it. Yeah. Like, just at least show us that or something.
I wrote down in my comments too. It's like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of their career. Like, this is an hour and a half movie. They could have spent a little bit of time building up their career. Like, maybe even starting with them as like starting out. You know, do a little bit of that. Lead up to this moment with the big elephant contract thing. Have a little bit after, and then you can do the time jump to their end of their career.
It also kind of is a little bit, I don't say boring. It's not boring, but you get tired of seeing the stage play because it's the same bit they're doing in different places. Yeah. So we just see it over and over. And as the audience, they're trying to show us, oh, you know, the crowd's getting bigger and they're getting more involved. Yeah. Sure, I get that. But can you at least show us different scenes from this play? Because it can't just be like the 2 minutes worth of stuff we see in the whole film.
Yeah, with like Hardy with his leg up and then he's kind of breaking the egg open, Laurel doing.
Or the two doors when they're looking for each other, like a train station or a bus stop or something.
And like, my comment is also like, back in the day, did they really laugh that hard at these antics? Like, I know people were like busting a gut, like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. And I'm like, maybe comedy was just that much different back like 100 years ago, because like, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, that's a little clever, but it's not like I'm not gonna be laughing my ass off like the kids or the people were doing in the crowd.
Yeah, I think it's just for them. It's more like just the absurdity of it, like that they would miss each other at the station so many times. Like, oh, can you believe it? Like that kind of silly stuff. I mean, when you see other guys like Buster Keaton, when the building front falls down and he lands right through the window, that's more like
that's spectacular. Impressive. Yeah. Like he's on the front of that train and he throws that log and he just knocks it out.
He's throwing the timbers. Yeah.
It's like, he was insane, Buster Keaton.
These guys didn't really do that a whole lot. Like. No. Aside from like a little dance or funny motion that they would do, that they don't really.
It's definitely like slapsticky, kind of like Three Stooges sort of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And then like I didn't really know about Stan and like Stanley Laurel and Oliver Hardy behind the scenes really. Like when I grew up watching this stuff, I just knew them as the characters they portrayed on scene. But it really seemed like Laurel was like the writer and a little bit like the intellect, knowing like, okay, you know, we want to keep. You know, this guy holds on to this, so the audience just really wants to see us give it back, or you know, like he's reasoning, like he's the intellect in that sense of how to write a scene. Yeah. And then I guess Hardy's kind of like the guy he pitches it to. Does it work?
Yeah, Laurel seems to be like the creative one, though, the creative mind, always coming up with these ideas. And yeah, he pitches it to Hardy, and Hardy kind of maybe does his tweak on it or something a little bit.
It's funny because when they exploded each other and had that argument later on, that like Hardy like. Kind of like, oh yeah, you want to sit at the typewriter all day doing all this. Like, yeah, he's fucking making the show while you're doing what?
Yeah,
which is true.
Like he's rewriting this Robin Hood movie that never comes to fruition, I guess.
Yeah.
But like you're just like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Which I like that they actually showed in this fantasy. They showed like the Robin Hood movie because obviously they never did it. So this is the closest that anyone's got to see of this thing. Like I wonder if there is like a script.
Yeah, and I didn't really quite get that it was a fantasy. I was like, oh, did they actually make this? But then it says at the very end, saying that they never made the movie.
Yeah.
And it's saying that he died a couple of months, a couple of years after.
Well,
so I was like, oh, I guess they never did. I guess it must have been like just imagination or something.
And it says Laurel worked on that till his death, and Hardy like died like 8 years or something before he did, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, a good thing. It's like, why you think you would stop writing a 2-man's thing when the partner that you're gonna be doing this movie with has been dead for 5 years?
Yeah. Well, it obviously shows that they had this much of a passion for each other and a love for each other. That he was even still writing skits even after his passing.
Another like something else that kind of bothered me, and I don't know if this was again. Does this go into like their pratfall? Like, is this real life or is this like a joke thing? Yeah. But how the wives were always like. They didn't like each other, but they ignored each other, kind of like they would throw shade at each other all the time. Like, oh yeah, Ida's a real good dancer. You should ask her. And then like Ida's like, no, I don't. We don't do that. Like, you come to Russia, I show you this. This is how our real thing is.
Yeah.
And like they're always at each other, and you can tell they don't really like each other. Mm-hmm. But like it's like there's a wall that. Like, they are right next to each other all the time. Yeah. They came on the plane together. Yeah. And you think they'd be, like, sick and tired of each other, but they're always together, and they constantly do that.
It's like they're together for their husbands. This is what it seems
like. The
odd
couple kind of thing. Yeah. But, like, is that a joke, too? Or were they real life like that? Like, they hated each other?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny. I like, every time they were, like, going to watch one of their plays, Ida would always be like, no, I don't sit by him. The promoter guy, she'd always make sure she was on the other side.
I wish there was an explanation for that. Like, why would she not?
She just didn't like the guy, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. That was funny.
But then you actually see at the end that they actually do kind of care, because like when Hardy's, I think, doing a dance, like he shouldn't be doing the show at all. Yeah. He starts doing a dance, and what's her name again? Gets worried.
Hardy's wife?
Mrs. Hardy gets worried, and like Ida like squeezes her hand.
That was probably the most heartwarming moment, I thought, was her holding her hand, because
she looks over and she kind of gives a little smile, like, oh, she does care.
Yeah, like as much as they might bicker with each other, sort of thing, they do appreciate each other, and they are here to support their husbands. Yeah. And I that was a heartwarming moment. I was like, oh, that was nice of her to grab her hand in that moment.
And like it never comes up like. I guess that was a side story, like the two of them kind of not getting along. Yeah. And that was the resolution, which, like you said, it was nice and stuff. Mm-hmm. Again, like I just said, the past. I have a lot of notes here, just like, why do we keep going back and talking about the past when we skipped it all? Like, you should have fucking showed us the past.
Yeah, I would have appreciated that.
I would have liked to have seen like more of Ida and Stanley Laurel together. Because, like, we don't really see them like by themselves. True. There's one moment where they're in, like, a lounge together, and, like, he wants to drink, and she drinks his drink, because, like, no, you can't have that. Yeah. And he actually kind of, like, they have, like, a loving moment, like, they're joking with each other, but, like, in a loving, caring way. And he's like, oh, it's like, if only they knew you were a man. And I was just like, that doesn't seem like she would get it normally. Like, because she's very off-putting. And that's what I say, his wife is just very, I don't know.
She's very negative about everything.
She seems to be negative about everything, that something's always better, or no, this isn't good enough, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she's very unlikable. Yeah. And I was like, what's the real woman this is based on? Was she like that?
I'm curious.
But
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I wish they would show more of why he fell in love with her, because all we see is this dislikable woman.
True, like we got a brief instance of Laurel and Hardy when they were young. Yeah. Maybe it would have been nice to see like their wives when they were a little bit young too. Were they always so like negative as well?
Well, we see Mrs. Laurel or Mrs. Hardy with Oliver all the time, and she's very caring. She's like, no, this shouldn't make you work so hard. Or like they shared the bed together, like she's cuddling next to him. Mm. But we don't see that with Ida and Stan. So it was just like, I wish we could have seen some more of that, like where they're a more rounded relationship.
I did like the one comment that Laurel had about his wife. Saying, the more I drink, the drunker my wife gets. That's just funny, because she's always drinking his drink. She's always drinking
his drink, so he can't. Yeah. Apparently, he was a huge alcoholic. Like, I looked that up.
That's what it was. Okay. I was like, did he have the health scare too, or just because he's aged, or what was? I didn't realize it was because he had alcoholic problems. Okay.
And then, we we hear about his Oliver's health problems like the entire film, like because they cut out the dance and it was more of just like a song and stuff. But we hear about it, but we don't really see anything until he finally faints. Yeah. That was like the one time we actually see, like, it'd be better if we saw more times where like maybe he was struggling to get up some stairs or something. Yeah. Because he did the stairs at the train station, no problem. I mean, at the top, he's like, oh, could you hold this? And I catch my breath. That was about it, but that was also a huge fucking trunk that he lugged up the stairs.
And yeah, this guy's over 300 pounds, as you can see.
Yeah, so I wish we got more of that, because he seems like he's big. We can obviously see that, but he seemed fine until suddenly he wasn't.
And I'm curious about like the validity. Like, did this health scare and all this stuff happen on their last tour that they had in real life? Did this stuff really happen?
So yes and no. Okay. So they did have a British tour, and this is what it's based off of. But it wasn't their last show. Like, they went and did this Bikini Atoll or K-Toll or whatever Utopia movie they called it. And that's where he got kind of sick and stuff, and they didn't do anything after that. Nothing really, because I was like, they judged a swimsuit competition where he had this, this, I don't know, panic attack or whatever, that he passed out. And I Googled that, and like, no, that was just made up for the film. He didn't actually have that, like, they didn't judge any bikini contests in the UK while they were there. That was made up for the thing. I was like, oh, okay.
That's kind of why I questioned it, because it felt like it might have been something they just threw in there to give us a little more drama.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I wish it was more accurate to their actual lives and what happened. But like, I guess if you wanted to do the UK tour side of things, but also the dying days of their show, you could kind of make that. Because from the stuff I know about like their other movie, it was just like a really shitty time altogether for everyone involved. Like all the actors and directors and extras, like they were all getting sick and stuff. And it was a really bad take. But but yeah, and that's pretty much the movie. Like they have an argument again.
Yeah.
And they're gonna cut this tour early, and because they're just mad at each other. Yeah, they have this blow up. They say what they want to say to each other, and they have a couple more things they're gonna do before they leave. And one of them is this bikini contest, which, Laurel's doing everything, and all Hardy has to do is come up some stairs, and he like basically passes out. Then the doctor comes and they check on him and everything. Like, you can't do this stuff anymore. And
after that happens too, like Hardy wasn't gonna do any more of the tour. He wasn't doing any more performing, and Laura was gonna continue on with this local UK guy that was supposed to be a comedian as well too.
He was Bacon or Cook?
Taking his place. I don't remember what his name was. But he was supposed to take his place, and then the one show that he was gonna have with Laurel got canceled because Laurel couldn't do it. He didn't want to do it without his buddy. And then I guess they show like one last time. I'm wondering, was there like a one last time where they go and perform?
Yeah. Well, and then Hardy even wants to kick it up a notch and do the dance because they weren't going to do the dance. They were just going to do the song where they just stand there and sing rather than the kicks and everything. Yeah. But then he comes in to do that last show with them, and that's the end. Like, we literally end on the singing and dancing, and then cuts to credits.
Yeah, you see like their silhouette from the background of them. And it's a beautiful shot.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. In the credits, they show actual footage that they based a lot of the scenes on. So like the cowpoke one that we see in the beginning. Yeah, you see that same thing here. Like they did it, and it's beat for beat pretty much. Yeah. If anything, I think like their performance is a little bit cleaner with John C. Reilly and Coogan. But I mean, that's just probably modern editing and camera techniques and stuff. But yeah, they show a lot of the stuff, and it's like, wow, they did a really good job of recreating them.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I wish I would have saw more of that stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie. But yeah, that's basically, like I said, that's the movie. That's the synopsis. And I don't know if you want to get into other stuff.
Yeah. Do you want to get into the good, bad, and the ugly?
No time like the present, I guess. Yeah.
Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So good. My good was the very intro of the movie. Like I love them walking through all the different backstage sets and just seeing like the production and all that stuff. That was cool. That was a really cool moment in the movie, and I wish we would have saw more of that and more of their actual production and the behind the scenes stuff. That was my favorite part of the movie.
I have two goods because I just couldn't decide between them. One was just the casting of Coogan and John C. Reilly. They were spot on. I always from day one I was like, wow, these are terrific casting choices. Like, it was up to see, we'll see the performance, but at least the looks, they nailed the looks down. And, like, I was pretty confident with John C. Reilly because I'm so well acquainted with him. Yeah. But I was like, wow, they nailed that. The other thing that I have for my good was that I liked the color and brightness of the film.
Yeah.
Everything was so vibrant and looked like nice to look at and watch. Like I feel like a lot of other directors or films in this style, they would have made certain scenes like really dark and like even hard to see like behind this, like backstage or in a hotel room would be a lot darker.
Well, even like you said, like it was gray and it was dark, like, but it wasn't like out of focus. Like everything was, you could see it was very crisp. It was very good quality.
I like the contrast, the colors, the visuals are really well done in this film.
Yeah.
Moving on to the bad then. I think mine's pretty obvious, so I'll go with that. Like the time skip, I just really hated that they jumped past so much of their career, but then they keep going back in this argument, like talking about how he did the elephant movie, how he wouldn't go on the contrast. Like I would have liked to see a little bit of that, like maybe after we see that contract never get signed, that maybe they confront each other in like a hotel room or something about why didn't you show up, and they slam the door in his face.
Yeah.
Then we have the time jump because we never really get to see if they ever had a real letting out at the time of how they felt with each other.
Yeah. It could have just been something they never mentioned to each other until this moment.
So we just get like these, and it's 16 years, and I don't know how long they were apart.
Yeah.
But like again, we don't know that either.
It sounds like it was just the one film that they weren't together though.
Yeah.
That's what they made it sound like anyways.
So I just wish we could have seen that. Like, don't do that much of a time jump or skip all that material if we've got to keep going back and referencing it over and over.
Yeah, for sure. I would have loved to have seen more of the lead up to that, and that's basically my bad. Is it's just this story takes place in a very small window of their career, and I would have loved to have seen more of it padded out. The build up to them being like small to like being very popular, and then maybe back down a little bit, and then jump to it doesn't have to be 16 years. It can be like maybe 10 years ahead or something like that. But for them to go from that, the elephant to now, I was like, okay, that's a big gap that I would have liked to have seen a little bit of their career in between.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if you want me to do the ugly first or
sure, you can go with the ugly.
The ugly. So yeah, I don't really have like a good ugly. My ugly was. I wished they would have made the Robin Hood movie. That's all it was. I know we only got like a little snippet of it, and for them to like tease it, and then like even like writing it, and then like him like having like scenes that he wanted to play out, then like behind like the curtains and stuff like that, and like stab. Oh, he's actually on his knees. That's funny. I would have liked to have seen a little more of the Robin Hood stuff. Yeah,
that's a good one. For me, my ugly, and I kind of mentioned already, was Ida, and just like I said, I want to see Ida and Stan together, like in more loving scenes. We get one scene where they show a little bit of affection to each other, but most of the time she is so off-putting herself that I feel like just as a character, she needs to be, given more to work with to feel like Mrs. Hardy. I will keep calling her that because I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she always like shows some love and a care, but Ida doesn't really, other than making sure that Stanley gets his time, he gets this thing. She doesn't really show affection. She just shows like give.
Yeah, a little more character development for her would have been nice, I guess.
So that was my kind of thing, because she is fairly prominent. Like she is in there as much as the other wife.
Yeah,
so
basically.
That was the ugly. What we like to do as well, we like to look at reviews from other sources, and we get to just share a couple of them here. So Country Boy usually does like the
Letterboxd.
Yeah, the average guy from Letterboxd giving his opinions, and I'll do the ones from like critics online from usually Metacritic, but sometimes other sources. But you can take the lead on this one if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll try and, like I said, I do just Joe Schmo down the road can make a review, and that's what I look up. I just want to see a variation of people's how they liked it, if they didn't like it, or if they loved it. Just a bit of a variation in that sense. So this one is just a 1-star review. Coogan and Riley, I'm sure, are doing very good impressions of Laurel and Hardy, but they're barely anything performance-wise. If this is what the pinnacle of comedy was like 70 years ago, good God, were things fucking dire. And that's kind of what I meant. I was like, people were laughing their ass off at these antics. I was like, yeah, that was the pinnacle of comedy at the time. Things have definitely changed since then. I don't know why I'd say, good God, it was dire.
I think you should look at the other stuff too before you say like, oh, this is terrible, because maybe they're just being accurate,
Exactly. And to give it a 1-star, I mean that's pretty rude, buddy. Then this next one is a 3-star review. Stan and Ollie is a charming and lovely tribute to one of the greatest comedy duo acts of all time. Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly fully inhabit the on-screen personas and intimate off-screen relationship of the duo. But it's in the women in their lives who surprisingly steal the show. I don't know if the women steal the show, but I do appreciate them being there and kind of seeing a different side to Stan and Ollie.
They were a welcoming undercurrent to the main story, but I wouldn't say they stole the show. They're not the main story. They're there and they're appreciated, like you said.
Exactly. And then this is the last one, a 5-star review. The most heartwarming film and a real rarity in this era of cinema. This is what bravery is in filmmaking now. Not always the artistic, the thought-provoking, the surreal, the edgy, the taboo. Just making a good-hearted, kind, and gentle film with love and care without trying to make it anything more than that. And, you know, I would say this is a heartwarming, good-natured movie. It doesn't step on like a lot of toes, and even when they're like kind of mad at each other, it's not like they really like are at the blows with each other. It's just like it's more. It's not a huge explosion of hatred they have.
He threw something at him.
True, it was like a bun or something.
I don't know.
They thought it was another skit.
That was part of the skit.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
And that's like that old, like, again, we're talking about like where's the line between real life and what's supposed to be comedy? Because like the wife's like, is this like part of the act?
Yeah.
And he says like, it's like my wife watches you all the time. I catch it, but he knows everything. She doesn't know anything.
Yeah, he's even like quoting things like they were bringing up that piano up the stairs. That was hilarious. Yeah. And like, this is what we've got to deal with this guy. Jeez.
It's like, yeah, we did.
We did do that. It was a prop, you know.
So yeah, for my reviews, like I said, I'll do something from like critics, paid professionals. Usually I get from Metacritic, which is where I got these from. I try to get something highly rated, something in the middle, and something low from various sources. And I don't necessarily have to agree with them on what they're saying, but I can at least see their point, I guess, is how I look at it. So starting off with our high score here, from IGN. Stan and Ollie muddles up the history bit, as all biopics do, but it's a film without any meaningful flaws. Every character is wonderfully realized. Every performance is spectacular. You'll laugh all the way through, you'll cry by the end, and you'll see the brilliance of Laurel and Hardy come back to life via the very same cinematic magic that made them the legends in the first place. A score of 95 out of 100.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to say, actually, there was some perfect scores, but I couldn't see what they were saying that made it that good. Like, I don't think it's a perfect movie. Like, I think this is high too.
Yeah, it's high, I'd say.
But at least, you know, they're not saying this is like a 10 out of 10, you know, cinematic.
Especially since I know IGN, I hate a lot of their movie reviews because they usually review stupidly, and that's higher than I would expect them to give.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do agree, though, that there's a lot of wonderful characters, realized characters, too. So it was a great film, and yeah, I think it did them justice, but I mean, I don't know if it's that close to perfect. Kind of more in the middle here, IndieWire. Stan and Ollie salutes an underappreciated comedy duo while exploring the hardships of fading into the limelight. Appropriately, the movie itself is rather forgettable, even as the actors delivered brilliant performances in every scene. A score of 75 out of 100.
Okay.
I don't know about forgettable because I just saw it, but I do feel like ask me again about this movie in a month, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't really remember all of it. It's happened in Britain a bit. I'll probably be blurry on some of the things. Like, maybe you'll be a better...
Oh, I've seen it twice now.
You've seen it before. Did you remember? Was anything like, oh, yeah?
Honestly, it's Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly's performances are the standouts, because I did think they did an excellent job. I can't really compare them to the actual Laurel and Hardy, because I don't know what they were like outside of their performances. But from what I've seen, I think they did a really good job of portraying these characters.
And then on the lower end, which isn't even much lower, but from New York Magazine, Vulture, it has in brackets for some reason, whatever that means. This is too sunny a production to linger too long in the dark corners. Even Laurel's alcoholism is treated with a light touch when it comes up. Nevertheless, it still finds its way to some kind of profundity about the nature of long-term working relationships. Something a little more complicated than the mere idea that a show must go on. A score of 70 out of 100. And like I said, they didn't really bluntly bring up his alcoholism. It was kind of just like, you know, every time there's a drink, she couldn't let him drink.
Yeah.
You didn't know why, like you said. Like,
Yeah, no, I didn't realize it was because of alcoholism.
Yeah, and no, I guess Hardy's wife didn't really have a problem because he's still drinking all the time.
I also didn't feel like I needed that explained either. I don't need them saying,
it's not really about that.
No, exactly. I felt like just having them subtly, her taking the drink, that was good enough. I got it.
They did mention the smoking, though, like how they can't smoke anymore.
Yeah, they did say that. Oh, I have one question. Was Laurel wearing a prosthetic as well too for his chin or something? There was one moment where he was having dinner with the promoter dude, and I noticed he had like a cleft chin, and I don't think Steve Coogan has that. I felt like they added a little bit of extra chin, and like if you look at Laurel and Hardy, like Laurel does have a pronounced chin back in the day. If you look at it. So I'm wondering if I'm not sure because it was very subtle. If there was any kind of I didn't look it up though. I should have looked it up.
Yeah.
If he had any kind of
I don't know. I didn't notice it. I was too focused on C. Riley to see everything going on there that I didn't really look at Coogan.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm not sure.
Plus, I wasn't too familiar with Coogan. Like I knew his name, but like I said, I didn't recognize him from other movies I'd seen until you mentioned it.
I could be wrong. It was just this one scene where I was like, "Oh, does he actually have a cleft chin?" And I don't think he does, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, those were the reviews from everyone else. Yeah, you ready to share your score, your review?
Oh yeah, I know what mine is.
Okay, you want to go first?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like it's a well done biopic. But again, the complaints that we had about like not seeing more of their career would have been nice. It would have brought it up to like a more like necessary movie to watch. This is a movie, I don't feel like it's a necessary watch. I don't feel like I'd be missing anything if I didn't see this movie. But I do think it was done really well, and for that I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was solid, the performances were solid, and it was missing just a little bit of extra. I think it needed.
Like, I agree. I think it's a very well done movie. Even if it wasn't 100% historically accurate and stuff to the characters and what happened, that at least it was mostly right. At least the character feel like was right. Everything seemed right about them. And like I said, I love the color. I loved like the setting was even fun too. I like the setting, but like the color of the film and everything. It's very good film, but I don't know, like the story wasn't big enough in scope, I guess, that I already feel like in a month I'm going to forget a lot of this film. Just remember it was a good time, but I'm not going to remember the core of it. So, or I will remember the core of it, but I won't remember all the little things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have the same score. I got a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
So, just better than average. Kind of like, I guess, I kind of like call this a new average. Being a 7 out of 10 is like the new average.
Kind of is. It's like, it's good, not great.
If people tell you a movie's a 5 out of 10, they're like, yeah.
That's like that's almost a fail right there. That's like a movie I never want to ever see again if it's a 5.
Yeah. So yeah, that covers our review of Stan and Ollie.
That's the name, yeah.
I was going to keep Stanley and Laurel, I was going to say, but Stan and Ollie. We have another movie coming up, and unlike Stan and Ollie, which was only like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot longer.
This is going to be like twice as long as the next movie.
Yeah.
So check out our next video that we're doing. It's going to be on Gandhi. Gandhi. You know the guy. You love him.
Yeah.
It's Gandhi. He's here now. Not gone.
So yeah, where can we find you at?
You can find me all over the place. I am CountryBoy_9, but I'm also known as CountryBoy9er. A bunch of different places, like right here on YouTube where I unbox a bunch of stuff. I'm also on Letterboxd, like we just formally mentioned, and Twitch and PlayStation and a bunch of different places. Just check me out. You'll find me somewheres.
And I'm the LewisLightning. You can look that up, all one word, on Twitch. I have some gameplay on there every once in a while when I'm playing whatever's fresh. You can also check me out on YouTube. Same thing, the LewisLightning, all one word. I got some gameplay videos on there from like the PS3 era. So like some older stuff like Assassin's Creed 3, for example, or the X-Men Origins Wolverine game. Because there's going to be a new Wolverine game coming out soon. You can check that out on Twitch when I play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and aside from there, you can find both of us on another channel called Wasted Opinions with our other buddy Buskeg. He joins us on there, and we talk about movies, talk about video games, we talk about TV shows, music, whole bunch of stuff, like comic books, whatever you want. Like, I could sit here and list them all day.
We run the gamut on the things we talk about.
Yeah. And yeah, we will talk about Gandhi next time. But for now, I don't know, I think we should just do like a big, I should fall through the table here.
Pratfall.
Pratfall is how we should end it. That would be their style.
Did you know that the footage they used for like the West scene that they were doing at the beginning of the movie was actually the exact same footage they used from the original movie?
Did not know.
Fun fact.
There, we ended on the fun fact.